What's going on, y'all? I'm back with another NFL mock draft on Mock Draft Monday, but today we are going to do a two-round mock, but it's going to have trades. So we're going to try to make some trades in this mock. I'm kind of going off last year. There were 4 trades in the first round. So the goal is to get around 4 or 5 trades in the first round of this mock. Second round, I probably won't do any unless I absolutely love something. But yeah, let's go ahead and get straight into things. Starting off with the number 1 pick, it is obviously going to be Fernando Mendoza. No reason to really even talk about it at this point. I mean, the Raiders just built their whole free agency around him. So yeah, he's going to be the first overall pick. Number 2 to the Jets. Obviously, still need a quarterback. There is no way in any world I am ever taking Ty Simpson number 2. So we'll already scratch that off. I look at the edge room, and yes, they brought in Joseph Osai and, oh my gosh, Kingsley and Agbari, both on, I believe, 10, 11 mil per year. At this point in time, that's pretty much backup money. So we are going to go with Arvel Reese to add to the edge rotation. I think he's definitely has the highest ceiling out of the 3 pass rushers. David Bailey really struggles to defend the run, and he's 2 years older than Reese and Bain. Bain obviously has the bad measurables. Then you look at Reese. Yeah, he's not that far developed as a pass rusher. He hasn't spent that much time on the edge yet. And with the defensive minded head coach, I think you are going to be able to develop him more as a pass rusher. He's 21. He's already a dominant run defender, and he's a hell of an athlete. If you can get that pass rush down, you got yourself a hell of a pick at the number 2 pick. Number 3 for the Cardinals. I really go back and forth between 3 options at this pick, and it's either Sonny Styles to improve the worst unit on the team, in my opinion, at middle linebacker, or it's David Bailey because as of right now, to me, it's just Josh Sweat off the edge rushing, and apparently now Josh Sweat wants to be traded, so that's an issue. So David Bailey is also high on my bingo card, but then it's like Maui Noah is the safe option. You hired an offensive minded head coach. As of today, your starting right tackle is Elijah Wilkinson. Godspeed to Jacoby Brissett with that information. There is pretty good right tackle options normally at 34. And if I had to trade up to secure one, I think I'd feel comfortable doing it. The edge, not as confident. Linebacker, same. So I think I'm now between David Bailey and Sonny Styles, and I'm going to go with David Bailey. Edge rusher, obviously, way more valuable than just an off the ball linebacker, which Sonny Styles to me is the best player in the entire draft. So it's not a knock on him. It's just the truth. Edges get paid a lot more. So David Bailey's going to be the number 3 pick. And with David Bailey and Arvel Reese off the board, number 4 gets very easy for me. We are going to sprint the card in on Jeremiah Love. You could cut Tony Pollard to save like $9 million, or you could keep him as a backup. Tajay Spears, you could trade or keep. I don't care. Jeremiah Love is going to be the alpha in this backfield. He's going to get majority of the work. He's a great pass catcher. Obviously, we all know the stuff he does on the ground running the ball cannot be brought down. So, I mean, yeah, you're getting your next successor to the Titans' heir at running back with Derrick Henry, Chris Johnson, Eddie George, Earl Campbell was Oiler, but he counts too. Now it's Jeremiah Love. Number 5 for the New York Giants. I think I'm between 2 options, and it's 2 Buckeyes. You either go with Sonny Styles to pair with Tremaine Edmonds at linebacker, or you're going Carnell Tate to get that big physical receiver. They've taken a couple like bunts, I guess I'll call it, at wide receiver with Darnell Mooney and Calvin Austin. Linebacker, it's just Tremaine Edmonds. I don't even know if they currently have anyone signed. Like Micah McFadden, I don't think was brought back. Okereke was cut. It's just Tremaine Edmonds, in my opinion. So we're going to change that and go with Sonny Styles, 5th overall, to the New York Giants. Wow. We have a choice to be made here at 6 for the Cleveland Browns. Francis Mauigoa is here. Do we feel comfortable moving him to the left side? I don't know. Is Titus Howard going back to the left side? I don't know. Parnell Tate is here. You desperately need a alpha receiver in that room. Jerry Jeudy is not it. Cedric Tillman not it. Isaiah Bond not it. Parnell Tate could be it. Man, man, oh man. I think at this point in time, it's like, okay, if we want 2 of these guys, you pass on Carnell Tate. He's definitely gone by the 9th pick. Like that feels like the floor. But if you pass on Mauigoa or Monroe Freeling, like Mauigoa, not so much, but like Freeling, I think there is a chance you can trade up in this area to get him or get Spencer Fano or just take Caden Proctor flat out at 24. So I think I'm going to continue the fall of tackle, and we're going to take Carnell Tate here, sixth overall, to get Shador Sanders a real wide receiver one. All right, seven for the Commanders. I'm very open to trading this pick. Like, as of right now in my brain, I'm kind of leaning towards the Commanders need to take an offensive playmaker here at seven. It's not going to be a tackle. I mean, you got Josh Connerly and Laramie Tunsil. Edge rusher, you added like Chase on. You added obviously Odafe Owe. You brought in someone else. It's escaping my mind right now. Man, what is I got to check because now it's bothering me. I cannot remember off the top of my head who it is, and I don't know why. Where's Washington at? And I also want to look at their depth chart. Chigakonkwo, Rashad White, obviously, were also brought in. Wide receiver, there's nothing really moving me. Charles Omenihu is who I was referring to. Linebacker like Panleo Chenal was a great move. All right, come on. Let's get back over. What do I want to do here? Like, I'd be very open to this being the first trade of the mock. Hello? Like, I can't scroll down the like. Okay, thank you. Finally. Um, like, do the Lions come up all this way for the top tackle? I doubt it. I don't see the Dolphins trading draft capital. I don't see the Chiefs trading up in this scenario. Cowboys just love Terrence Steele for whatever reason. It's not going to be. I don't think you're going to be able to trade here. And like I said, I mean, you still could definitely use Ruben Bain, like Charles Omenihu and hell, now I'm forgetting the other one. Kayvon Chason aren't going to stop you. Bain would be like a better version of Omenihu. I don't know if he would fit well with Dan Quinn's system, anyways. I do, however, think a match made in heaven at safety would probably be Nick Cross and Caleb Downs. That intrigues me a lot. So I think we are going to go ahead and select Caleb Downs, a trio of Buckeyes going from 5 through 7 here off the board. All right, number 8 for the Saints. I mean, man, currently speaking, Cam Jordan is still a free agent. He played very good in your system in the role you used him in. I think Ruben Bain can play that exact role. Carl Granderson, I don't think was as good in the new system. Chase Young was phenomenal. But yeah, man, I think I'm taking Ruben Bain Jr. here, eighth overall, to join Brandon Staley's defense solely because he's a very good fit for that style of defense. All right, 9 for the Chiefs. Mansour Delane can be your Trent McDuffie replacement. I don't know if you need one, and that might sound crazy, but like you brought in Kader Kohu, which I understand he hasn't played in over a year with the ACL tear last summer, but like he's a good starting nickel when he's healthy. No Williams, Christian Fulton, like you don't really have a big boundary corner. And you're pretty much set up very nicely at 29 to get one of those, in my opinion. So yeah, I think I'm looking elsewhere here. Defensive line, I don't think there's anything you're like, oh yeah, like I don't see anything I would take here. Not even remotely close either. So I know some people like Makai Lemon could be a fun like target to add to the offense. I don't think he goes here. Kenyon Sadiq could be your tight end of the future. I would be very open to moving this pick. I get they have very much better capital. I was gonna say very good, but it ain't like perfect, but it's good. I would be open to making this deal happen if I could, and it'd be with Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. It'd probably have to be like a 20 and 40 swap. Phew. Man, that's a lot for the Cowboys to give up. Yeah, I don't know if I like the structure of this to even begin with. All right, I'm ready to fight in the comments. Let's let all hell break loose. Josh Simmons is your left tackle of the future. We all know that. Jalen Moore is a backup tackle. He is not a starting caliber tackle in the NFL. Issa Pohl is a backup tackle. He's not a starting caliber tackle. You cut Jawan Taylor. You could really use a natural right tackle over there and just use Jalen Moore as a swing tackle, or let him sit for a year and polish his game if he's not ready. My point being, you're going to lose Jalen Moore or get rid of probably after this season. A starting offensive line with Josh Simmons at left tackle and Francis Manoa at right tackle. I don't know why you pass on that option with how the board has fallen at 9. I know for some reason Chief fans hate this idea. It's the worst thing in the world to them. I don't think it's that bad, unfortunately. All right, Tim for the Bengals. Mansoor Delane is here. Um, this is another spot. Like if Caleb Downs isn't here, like I don't really even want to make the pick because I think I can trade back and get the same player I would take here at potentially like 17 with the Lions moving up to maybe get Monroe Freeling or Spencer Fano. So, like, what would the framework of this trade be? Maybe you move 72 up to 50. You get 155 back, maybe a 3 next year. So the Lions move pick 50 back to 72, which I really don't think it's all that bad considering the type of draft class this is. They lose 155. Oh well. And then your third next year to secure your left tackle of the future. I don't think that's too bad. So we are going to see our first trade of the day go down here at number 10 in the Detroit Lions moved up to select their left tackle of the future in Monroe Freeling out of Georgia. I think he's a perfect fit for this offense. I mean, the dude is so good out in space. He's so athletic for being 6'7", 320 pounds. Like I said, fantastic mover in space is really the thing that I think matters most with Jahmyr Gibbs being your running back. So I think it's a match made in heaven here for Detroit. All right, number 11 for my Dolphins. Honestly, like you might see all three tackles go off the board back to back to back. And the idea I like of Spencer Fano is some people think he projects better as a guard to begin with. Okay, cool. The Dolphins have no starting right guard. And maybe best case of your value scenario, he starts at right guard in 2026. Austin Jackson probably doesn't stay healthy again, just as history has shown. You get rid of him after the year, and then you try Fano at right tackle. Or maybe you strike gold and Fano's just your right guard of the future, which I think is fine if he is really that good at 11. Mansoor Delane will be a popular name. I honestly just don't see it. I get Jeff Hafley recruited him to come to Boston College when he was coming out of high school. I've already seen the Dolphins sign Darrell Baker. They signed Marco Wilson. They signed who like they have signed like 4 or 5 free agents on the minimum at corner. I'm kind of under the belief that they're just going to say, hey, we're going to let 10 of these guys fight it out during camp, and whoever makes it, makes it. Like, we're not spending a top end pick on a corner this year. Like, we want to build in the trenches, which I think is fine. So, assuming that is their logic, we are going to go Spencer Fano, and all three of the tackles are now off the board. But hey, like I said, Fano's probably playing guard in Miami. 12 for the Cowboys. I'll sprint the card in on Mansoor Delane. He's exactly what you're missing in the secondary. You need a boundary starter. He can also play in the nickel if you like Deron Bland on the boundary, which I highly doubt. I think he's way better in the nickel than he is on the boundary. But yeah, I mean, you just need upgrades in your corner room. At least Mansoor Delane is healthy. Can't say that about Jermod McCoy. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good pickup for the Cowboys defense. All right, 13 for the Rams. Kenyon Sadiq is a very popular pick here. I'm personally not a fan of it. You just took Terrence Ferguson 46th overall. You signed Tyler Higbee on a 2-year deal. You still have Colby Parkinson. Well, like, what's he out there doing? I don't know if that's really worth the 13th overall pick to have a tight end that, I mean, we're kicking like I don't know, like Terrence Ferguson, I feel like will also play a similar role as just that big receiving tight end. So I think if anything, I'm looking for a boundary receiver to have Devontae on one side, this guy on the other side, and Puka in the slot. The Rams tend to like high character players. I don't know if we can say that about Mekhi Lemon. He hasn't gotten like legal trouble, but he was an oddball at the combine, and I think it's worth mentioning. So I think I am going to go with the uber talented receiver, and in my opinion, the best receiver in the draft when healthy, which is his problem because he is never healthy, it feels like, in Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State. I mean, his skill set is so dynamic to add to this team. He can high point the ball. He's a great route runner. He's always open. Like, there you go. You just got to hope he can stay on the field. All right, 14 for the Baltimore Ravens. This is another spot I would probably be picking up the phone and trying to make a trade down because I just don't see what the Ravens are going to take here. Like, are you taking Jermon McCoy to upgrade a Awuzie and Marlon Humphrey's probably gone after this year? Maybe. I don't know if you take him this early, considering he hasn't played in over, what, 14 months? Are you taking Vega Ioane and just moving Voorhees to the bench? You could. I don't know if you will do that, though. Are you taking Kenyon Sadiq potentially? I would like that. I don't know if the Ravens would do it. So, yeah, I think this is probably a good spot to do our second trade down. And as I was talking about, I think I'm going to try to make a move up with the Carolina Panthers to get Kenyon Sadiq. And my plan here probably for the Ravens, like you can't use all these picks in my opinion. So if we could get another top 100 pick to move back 5 spots, and maybe we're like, hey, Carolina, take 173, take 210 and 252. Take these late picks from us, give us 83, and you got a deal. I think I would do this deal if on both sides, especially the Ravens, because I don't think there's anything you love here that won't be available at 19. And the Panthers certainly as well, because you need a dynamic weapon in your offense at tight end. Kenyon Sadiq is obviously going to be that for you. You have no Kenyon Sadiq in that room. Mitchell Evans is fine. Tommy Trimble is a solid backup. JT Sanders can't stay healthy. Sadiq can also play alongside those guys in the slot. So let me point that out as well. You invested in the front seven a ton with Devin Lloyd and Jalen Phillips. Let's go get Bryce another weapon. All right, 15 for the Bucks. Shout out my boy Hail Mary Sports. Hopefully, I can get him in a collab mock here soon. I was hurt when I saw Dalton from PFF do this pick because I really wanted to kind of introduce it because I haven't seen a lot of it on YouTube. It's Vega Ioane out of Penn State going to the Buccaneers. I mean, they brought in Ashawn Robinson. I don't think Keldrick Falk's a relatively good fit since Todd Bowles probably playing for his job this upcoming season. So take a project that might take 2 or 3 years. I don't see that playing out. Edge rusher in general, like, yeah, TJ Parker can be an option. Akeem Mesidor is a real win now option. But like, man, like Ben Bredesen is not that good at left guard. Why not just go ahead and add another cornerstone on the offensive line to go along with Tristan Wirfs, Graham Barton, Gadecki? Like, just finish off that Cody Mock. Like, finish off the offensive line. All right, 16 for the New York Jets. This is where I really start to think about Ty Simpson because if you let him go past you right here, there's a good chance the Cardinals trade up and take him. Do we want to push our luck though? I think I do because Makai Lemon is super talented and a great just yak receiver to add to Garrett Wilson and AD Mitchell. I think that pairing would actually work very well for New York. So, who, if it's Ty Simpson later in the draft, this isn't pre recorded, so I don't know. If it's Dante Moore, Arch Manning next year, hell, is it Geno Smith Mills is back again? I don't know. Only time will tell, but I do know they will have a plethora of receiving options to throw the ball to. All right, 17 for the Cincinnati Bengals. Dylan Thieneman is very intriguing to pair with Brian Cook, in my opinion. But as of right now, Cam Taylor Britt is still a free agent. I haven't seen anything about the Bengals really talking to him or negotiating with him. So maybe they're just done there. Jalen Davis doesn't have to be a full time starter in your secondary. I think I'm going to swing on the upside as the Bengals do so much and go with Jermod McCoy out of Tennessee to join the secondary. He plays very similar to how Al Golden's DBs at Notre Dame did with obviously Leonard Moore. But yeah, I think you roll the dice here and just get the physical big corner to go on the boundary opposite of DJ Turner. Let Dax Hill play in the nickel, and there's your secondary going into 2026 for Cincinnati. All right, 18 for the Vikings. I have been like really pushing the defensive tackle train for Minnesota here. Honestly, they all have so many problems. Like Caleb Banks broke his foot again. Hayden McDonald and Lee Hunter are just nose tackles. McDonald probably goes higher than Lee because Lee's not a very good athlete and he's 24. Christian Miller is slowly becoming my favorite in the entire draft just because he's a great run defender. He's explosive and has shown very good glimpses of being a good pass rusher. Peter Woods, I don't think there's a player having a worse offseason process than Peter Woods. Like, he didn't look good at the pro day. His 2025 tape was terrible. He lost a bunch of weight. Like, what are we doing? So I think I'm just going to go get my Harrison Smith replacement in Dylan Thieneman out of Oregon to put at safety for the Minnesota Vikings. All right, back up with the Baltimore Ravens here at 19. I really like the thought of like Avion Terrell, Colton Hood joining the secondary. Is there anything else I could find? Like Denzel Boston would probably be a good fit for the offense. I just would not take him 19th overall in any world. So I'm going to pass on that as well. Emmanuel Pregnon's a pretty good fit at left guard. And I get it's like, why trade down and lose out on Vega for Pregnon? It could be a good argument. It definitely could be. Let's just like, man, the Ravens. The Ravens could be the team that take the first defensive tackle off the board. They definitely could, because like as of right now, it's like Broderick Washington and John Jenkins starting with Namdi Matabwike and Travis Jones is a nose tackle, obviously. So you know what? I think I'm gonna go with that route. If I could click back to the mock draft, like lagging for no reason. I think I'm gonna go that route. Caleb Banks, I don't think is a very good fit. Namdi is still recovering from the neck injury. And like I said, like I'm not looking for a big body guy, so it leaves me to Peter Woods and Christian Miller. I think Christian Miller could really surprise a lot of y'all and go a lot higher than what you think he might. Like I said, the dude was a dominant run defender, arguably the best in the draft, which, mind you, he ain't a nose tackle. It's not his like primary job. On the defense line, obviously it is. You got to rush the passer and defend the run. But normally you think of the nose tackle to stuff up the run game. He's like what? I want to give y'all an accurate number on the weight. I was thinking like 305. Maybe he's 315, 321. There you go. So it's like he's not small by any means, but he's so athletic for being 6'4" and 320 pounds. Like, yeah, I think I'd roll the dice here and just let him replace Broderick Washington and John Jenkins on the interior. 20 for the Dallas Cowboys. Got Mansour Delane. Honestly, there's a lot of value in pass rush, but you did trade for Rashawn Gary. You need a starting linebacker so bad. I think it's just going to be CJ Allen to play it safe here for Dallas. All right, 21 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. When I look at that wide receiver room, in no world to me is it complete at all. Cool, you got two big boundary receivers. You need a yak receiver and a separator in the slot. You could also use some speed. So I think Casey Concepcion, like, what do you prefer? Do you want a guy that's a monster after the catch? Or do you want a guy that's like he's good after the catch, but he struggles to catch the ball, but he's very fast? Omar Cooper did run a 4.4. So, like, there is more juice than what a lot of us thought. And I'm a lot higher on Omar Cooper. So, we are going to take Omar Cooper Jr. out of Indiana 21st to the Pittsburgh Steelers to pair with Michael Pittman and DK Metcalf. 22 for the Chargers. I really like the idea of replacing Odafe Owe at this pick and just continuing that dominant trio you had to end the season with Khalil Mack, Tully, and Odafe. Obviously, Odafe took off to Washington on a mega deal. You're probably happy about that with how much money he got paid. And TJ Parker's got a lot of untapped potential in his game. You really saw TJ Parker take over in 2024. Hell, coming into this year, everybody thought he'd be a top five pick. He had a down year, as every Clemson Tiger did. So yeah, I think this is a good spot for him. Like you're not asking him to start full time, but he can defend the run. He's just got to develop more as a pass rusher, get more tools in his bag. He just likes that long arm, and that's kind of about it as of right now. So you got to develop him. What better teacher than Khalil Mack? That so yeah, let's go with TJ Parker. All right, 23 for the Eagles. Emmanuel McNeil Warren to me would be very interesting to replace Reed Blankenship at safety. Keeneman's probably like the perfect safety you hope gets there. You signed Tariq Woolen on a big 1 year deal. Blake Miller like does make a good bit of sense here to be there apparent to Lane Johnson. You brought back Goddard. Hell, I think Concepcion could make some sense to play out of the slot with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith since AJ Brown's likely gone next year. This could be another trade spot. And I think it will be. I think the Denver Broncos are going to trade up here. So, how do we get this deal done? Like, you know what I honestly might do? Which this is probably too early to do it. Dude, that might be the spot. Patriots. I got a crazy trade in my head that I think I'm gonna try to pull off. Um, what do we want to do here? Like, I don't really want maybe 108, and you give them back 179. Then you get like maybe 246 and 256. So you get two seventh round picks. You move 179 up 70 spots into the fourth, and then maybe you get like a future four as well. Or it probably should be a three, maybe a future three, and you give up your own sixth. I don't think this is a bad deal at all. So we're gonna go ahead and send it through. A lot of pieces moving there. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments. My idea right here was to replace John Franklin Myers, and you might say, well, Christian Miller's gone, so what are you doing? We're gonna go with Keldrick Falk, and I know a lot of Bronco fans probably won't like the idea of trading up for Keldrick Falk. He's gonna go high in the draft. Hell, I doubt he gets out of the top 20. And I would bet money he probably doesn't just because of the tools. The dude is lengthy, he's big, he's strong, he is a dominant run defender, and he's shown flashes of being a good pass rusher last year when he had 9 sacks. Which I'm not saying he like, oh, he's gonna get that. Like he probably will never have more than 5 or 6 sacks in a season for you in the NFL. So he's going to make his money as a run defender, but you really need to replace John Franklin Myers. So if it costs a four, 2/7, a future three, but you're getting back a sixth and then a midday three pick, I think I'd pay the price because I know for a fact I would have taken him 25 to the Bears. And there's no way he would have got to 30. So in order to get him, I did have to trade up. So be it. All right, 24 for the Browns took Cardinal Tate. I think we're going to run it back with the idea with like the Dewan Jones game plan and hope this guy can stay healthy, which Proctor really hasn't had many injury concerns. It's kind of, he's just like been a big slob. Like he needs to lose some weight, which he did. It looks like he dropped about 10 pounds at the combine, which is good to see. Which people always talk about the level of athlete he is, I guess, because he caught a touchdown cool. Like his feet get stiff. Like he needs to get quicker on his feet to survive at tackle. The Browns love big offensive linemen, so we're going to take Caden Proctor here and let him and Dewan Jones battle it out for the starting left tackle spot in Cleveland. 25 for the Chicago Bears. I think this is a spot where we just rolled the dice on one of these defensive tackles. And I'm looking for some size in the middle. And like I said, with Caleb Banks' injury history, it's really starting to scare me how repetitive it is. Especially, like, I think he's broke his foot 2 or 3 times, which is nuts. But we're going to go with Caden McDonald out of Ohio State just to get a true nose tackle that can stuff up the run next to Grady Jarrett and Javon Dexter. 26 for the Buffalo Bills. I think I'm going receiver. Like Denzel Boston and Concepcion are still here. We traded for DJ Moore. Cool. DJ Moore and Khalil Shakir are both yak receivers. You could go with the size with Denzel Boston to put on the outside, or you could get the absolute burner in Concepcion. They have shown me by drafting Keon Coleman they would like to have a receiver with size, so I think we are going to go Denzel Boston here. And I mean, Emmanuel McNeil Warren, I guess, could have been a thought. They brung in 2 veteran safeties with CJ Gardner Johnson and Geno Stone, who neither are all that good at this point in their careers, especially Geno Stone, terrible. But yeah, like their bodies at the end of the day, like edge rusher, they paid Bradley Chubb a 3-year deal, so I don't think they're going edge. So yeah, let's take another shot at a weapon for Josh Allen and Joe Brady. All right, 27 for the 49ers. They just brought in Christian Kirk, so now they have Mike Evans, Christian Kirk, and Ricky Pearsall. You could still use a receiver, especially one with some speed. I guess the question becomes, do I like the receivers at 58 more? Do I like the tackles? Ideally, I like to take one of those DPRs at 58, personally. And I think with the Trent Williams situation being unresolved, I'd probably just go Caleb Lomu. If Trent Williams is back another year, cool. We play Lomu at left guard. If he's not, Lomu, you're starting at left tackle. Lomu could also sit for a year, and I don't think it would hurt him. I mean, I think he's a relatively pro-ready player, but he kind of lacks some strength in his game, and he might get bullied at tackle. So he might be better off at guard anyways to upgrade Ben Barch. 28 for the Houston Texans. They brought in Evan Brown on a 1 year, 3.5 million deal. Emmanuel Pregnon still definitely intrigues me a lot. So I want to point that out. I don't know why it did not mean to click receiver. Um, like Caleb Banks really intrigues me, and so does Peter Woods. Like, if you're going to roll the dice, Houston is the team that can roll the dice. They have two of the best pass rushers in the NFL. Hell, their interior is not that bad with Sheldon Rankins, um, Tommy Togiai. You got Logan Hall in there as a pass rusher. So you really could use some size. I think I'm going to go with Caleb Banks out of Florida here at 28 for the Texans. All right, 29 for the Kansas City Chiefs. Got France Malinois at 9. Like Avion Terrell's right there. Like that is your Trent McDuffie replacement. Colton Hood is right there. That is your Jalen Watson replacement. No Williams can play on the boundary. Christian Fulton can as well, but I don't love him. Cater Kohu's coming off. Like, how big is Christian Fulton? That's the question. Like, in my head, I'm saying 5'11, but I need to confirm it. Like, Cater Kohu is a nickel through and through. It's not loading. 6 foot 195. So yeah, he's a little bigger than what I initially thought. Why not just get a player that can play both then? Like you just go get your Trent McDuffie replacement. Like at the end of the day, I gotta put my Dolphin bias aside. Like Cater Kohu's coming off a torn ACL. Like he can't play anywhere but the nickel. Like let's get Avion Terrell in this cornerback group, and he's definitely a first round talent. So I didn't want him to fall out either. All right, 30 for the Eagles, back up on the board. I moved down, got some extra draft capital. I feel pretty good about that. I think now is probably the spot. Like, you really need a safety, though, and Emmanuel McNeil Warren's sitting here. But, like, Blake Miller probably is a good option to be just an heir apparent to learn at right tackle to Lane Johnson. And Lane got hurt multiple times last year. So, like, but man, I want a starting safety. The Eagles invest in problems before their problems. They do it all the time. Sometimes they just draft strengths and keep them strengths. That kind of feels like what I'm doing here with taking Blake Miller at 30 to the Eagles. All right, 31. This is going to be my fourth and final trade of the first round, potentially. But yeah, this is going to be a big one. And the more I thought about it, the more I love the idea, honestly, for both sides. The Minnesota Vikings are going to be trading up from 49 to 31 packaged with a player trade. Yes, a player trade in this as well, with Jonathan Grenard heading over to New England to pair with Harold Landry and Draymond Jones now. So 49, 31, and you know what? That's pretty expensive, and that's a hell of a player. So if we're Minnesota, I would also like to get 131 back in this deal. And now, boom, the Vikings are on the clock at 31, and Patriot fans, you got to wait a little bit longer. Yeah, the reason I did this was to trade up for a defense tackle, and two, they're trying to get rid of Jonathan Grenard. So we moved up, and we are going to see the trifecta of Clemson Tigers? No, I lied. It's going to be Lee Hunter out of Texas Tech. So Peter Woods is going to be the only defensive tackle falling out of the first round, out of the top group. It feels crazy because we all know, I know, you know, and everyone and their mother knows the caliber of player Peter Woods was in 2023, 2024. The NFL doesn't work that way. It's more about what are you doing for me now? Peter Woods didn't do a lot for you in 2025. Like I said, the measurables aren't great. He didn't test well. To me, a lot of that screams not a first round pick, regardless of the talent. And he's not even really the same player. Like Peter Woods dominating in 2023, 2024 at 325 pounds. I don't know if Peter Woods is going to do that at 295, 300 pounds. Like that is a big weight difference. So I'm going to get a natural nose tackle in the interior of the defense line for Minnesota instead of whatever Peter Woods is trying to do. All right, 32 for the Seahawks. And the reason I said maybe we're not done is because I think I'm actually going to trade this pick because Seattle, as you can see, does not have a pick after their third rounder. So if I can really get anything from someone to move up here, For instance, like the Jets moving up to get Ty Simpson in the fifth year option doesn't feel bad. Like that actually feels really smart. And I believe the Jets are flooded in draft capital, if I'm not wrong. Like, yeah, they got more than they can probably handle. So like if we sent 178 and 219, that really helps out the Seahawks and the Jets, in my opinion. So we are going to go ahead and do this one pick trade. And you might say, why did the Jets do this? Like the Seahawks aren't taking Ty Simpson. It's pretty simple. They want the fifth year option and don't want anyone else to trade up for Ty Simpson. So the Jets will move up for Ty Simpson to end off round one and get their quarterback of the future. All right, let's go ahead and get into the second round, starting off with, believe it or not, the Seattle Seahawks. And where do we want to go here? In my opinion, a lot of people be like, oh, Pregnon, upgrade Anthony Bradford. That's not really my thought process with the Seahawks draft. I would rather say, hey, we just won with Bradford, so clearly we can do it. I don't know if we can win without Boye Mafe, Kobe Bryant, Kenneth Walker, Tariq Woolen. I want to replace the great players you've already lost. And I think the best way I can do that is with Brandon Cisse out of South Carolina replacing Tariq Woolen here at 33. All right, 34 for the Arizona Cardinals got David Bailey. My whole plan was to get a right tackle at this spot. Lucky enough, there's one left, so we will grab Maxi Iheanacho to hopefully be your right tackle of the future. 35 for the Tennessee Titans. Got Jeremiah Love. Man, Akeem Mesidor, with how the Titans are operating, they want to win right now. Akeem Mesidor would be a hell of an option to add as a third pass rusher to Robert Sala's defense with Jermaine Johnson and Femio Ladejo. It also adds some size, which you don't really have right now. So I do think I'm going to go with Akeem Mesidor at 35 to the Titans. All right, 36 for the Raiders. Got Fernando Mendoza. I mean, how do you pass on him at this point? Like, Peter Woods is sitting here. You're in the second round. This was arguably a top five pick at one point in time. I think you just take Peter Woods because there's not a lot going on in the Raiders' interior defense line. So, yeah, give me Peter Woods to pair with Max Crosby, Quiddy Pay, Malcolm Kuntz, Tyree Wilson, and all those guys. 37 for the Giants. You got Sonny Styles. Honestly, Casey Concepcion's not really the type of receiver I'm looking for since you got Calvin Austin. But Calvin Austin ain't going to affect how you draft. My issue is how many speed guys has John Harbaugh really had in Baltimore? Not a lot come to mind. So where else might we look? I would have taken Peter Woods in a heartbeat if he was here to go with Sonny Styles. I do just want to give Jackson Dart the best chance to succeed possible. So if that's with Malik Neighbors, Isaiah Likely, Darnell Mooney, Calvin Austin, and KC, so be it. I think Chris Bell would be someone Harbaugh's really interested in, but with that ACL injury, I don't think he goes before Concepcion. So we will add another burner to the Giants offense to replace really Wandale Robinson. 38 for the Texans, got Caleb Banks. And I mean, yeah, Emmanuel Pregnon fell. I think that's an easy enough pick here at 38. 39 for the Cleveland Browns, got Carnell Tate, got Caden Proctor. Ronnie Hickman's back on a second round RFA tender for 5 mil. Grant Delpit's there. So be it. I don't think either one of those guys are sniffing the talent Emmanuel McNeil Warren has. So we're going to go ahead and take him 39th overall to the Cleveland Browns. 40 for the Chiefs. Like, damn. Colton Hood's here too. But you know what? We need a pass rusher for Spags, and a guy a couple names down, Zion Young, feels like a perfect and exactly what Spags would be looking for in a pass rusher to join the defense. So yeah, I mean, if he's here, that's got to be the pick in my opinion. 6'5", 6'6", 265 pounds, can defend the run. Hell of a competitor, good pass rusher as well. He has the slight character concerns with the DWI in December. Has that ever stopped the Chiefs? No. Let's go ahead and move on. 41 for the Cincinnati Bengals. Do you want both of them? Because like Dax Hill and DJ Turner are both free agents next year. And the value is getting insane. He's probably going next pick. What do we want to do here? Like I love AJ Halsey. I don't know if he goes this high though. He might have to though. Just like I don't see a better Jacob Rodriguez is a pretty good option to add at linebacker. And I get you got Demetrius Knight and Barrett Carter. I wasn't a big fan of either of them, to be honest. Demetrius Knight's probably I'm more in on. Yeah, to Jonathan Allen, Boye Mafe. Like, yeah, you're really lacking at safety. And this isn't a reach, in my opinion, at all. Like, I have a top 35 grade on AJ Halsey, so I'm not saying it will happen because he's not the biggest guy in the world, not the best athlete, but damn, can he play football? Like, what, 6 foot, 220, had 8 interceptions over the past 2 years, hard hitter. Like, what more can you ask for from a safety? Like, I pray teams are starting to learn their lesson of, damn, even though safeties don't get paid a lot, which you should like, these guys translate pretty quickly, and they've been pretty good in recent history. So take them. 42 for the New Orleans Saints. We're going to double dip on the defense. You need a Alontae Taylor replacement. Colton Hood being here is kind of nuts. I think he'll probably go back into the first. So if he falls to the early mid second, I think you got to spread the card in. All right, 43 for my Dolphins. Got a right guard slash right tackle in Spencer Fano. You got to add more on the pass rush. Like right now, it's David Ajabo, who's never been able to stay healthy. It's Josh Uche, DPR, Chop Robinson, at this point, pretty much a DPR. Like you need someone that can defend the run, stay on the field. Denied Dennis Sutton can do that. It just kind of feels early at 43. Derek Moore can definitely do that. I love Derek Moore, and they brought in 2 Michigan pass rushers already. Is there anything else I'm looking at? Like with AJ Halsey going safety, absolutely not. Chris Johnson, I love to death, but like I said, I've kind of already said what I think they're doing at the corner position. Like, yeah, we need an edge rusher. Gabe Akis kind of brings that power that you don't really have and ability to defend the run. Add some size as well. I think I'm actually going to go Gabe Akis out of Illinois here to my Dolphins at 43. All right, 44 for the New York Jets. Got Arvell Reese, got Mekhi Lemon, got Ty Simpson. I would like to see the Jets grab an interior offensive lineman. Like safety is not really an option. Corner you've invested in. Like I'm not that huge on the idea of Tippmann playing left guard and Myers at center. Parham can play either guard spot, so I think I'm just going to go with Jennings Dunker. We're going to move Jennings Dunker into right guard. We're going to start Tippmann at center, then Parham at left guard, and Myers is a utility offensive lineman. All right, 45 for the Baltimore Ravens. Got Christian Miller via a trade back at 19. I'm still heavily considering corner because I am not sold. Does Connor Lew still go in the top 50? I think, like, even if you don't trade for 83, there's going to be a damn good center prospect available at 80. Like, I just know that from doing mock drafts. The Ravens have really never been shy about drafting injured players entering the draft. You need size, physicality in the receiver group. You don't really need him to play day one. Like, you can let him take his time rehabbing. But damn, man, you also need starters on the offensive line. We can get him at 80. We're going to go with Chris Bell out of Louisville here for the Ravens at 45. Anybody that has a problem with Chris Bell in the top 50, I don't know what to tell you. He was for sure a first round pick before he tore his ACL in November. He'll probably be practicing by August. He might be ready for the start of the season next year. Even if he's not, you get him for 4 years, not one. It's not fantasy football. So let's take Chris Bell. 46 for the Tampa Bay Bucks, Scott Vega Ioane. You need a starting linebacker next to Alex Anzalone. We're going to go with Jacob Rodriguez out of Texas Tech to be that. And 47, arguably the worst linebacker room I've ever seen in my life. We are going to go ahead and add Jake Golday, who can do a little bit of everything for that linebacker group. And it's just a tackling machine, kind of similar to Zaire Franklin. Not saying they are a one of one comparison, but just in the aspect of they're both going to get you a lot of tackles and be versatile on the defense, and both struggle in pass coverage. That's what Golday offers. All right, 48 for the Falcons. You lost D. Alford. I think D'Angelo Pons, Keith Abney would be a great replacement. Billy Bowman, I think, is probably starting in the nickel though for you. You really need playmakers. Like if you're going to give Tua or Michael Penix a shot, like I get you got Bijan, you got Drake London, you got Kyle Pitts. What else do you have? You got Jahan Dotson. You got Olamide Zaccheaus. Like you need another receiver, and especially if Tua ends up being your guy with Penix coming off the injury, you have seen Tua excel at a elite level when he has a fast playmaker on the offense with the ball in his hands. Zachariah Branch, with the ties to Georgia, being a Georgia Bulldog, I think makes it even that much better to keep him in Georgia for the Falcons offense. All right, 49 for the Patriots. First pick of the draft for New England. You got Jonathan Grenard, so I'm glad I thought about that before I made the pick. I would like to see a playmaker. Yeah, I mean, you got to help the offense. Austin Hooper leaving, like, I get you brung in Julian Hill, former Dolphin, on a 3-year, $18 million deal. He is a blocking tight end. Like, he does not catch the ball at all. Hunter Henry's kind of the both the best worlds, so it's like, do you just go get a pure receiving option in Eli Stowers? I mean, I've seen Mike Vrabel have Jonnu Smith. He had Chigakonkwo. Not saying they got utilized all that much, but I believe he drafted both of them in Tennessee. But you're not going to get Stowers if the Broncos are at 62. So it's now or never with Stowers. I don't know. Like Tiernan, I like the thought of potentially moving to right tackle and learning behind Morgan Moses. Like you just have so many bodies at receiver. Like you got Romeo Dobbs now, you got Matt Collins, you got Kayshawn Booty, you got Demario Davis, you got Kyle Williams. Like I think I'm gonna go with Eli Stowers out of Vanderbilt and just get that pure receiving monster at tight end for Drake May in the offense. 50 for the Cincinnati Bengals got Jermod McCoy and AJ Halsey. Kind of forgot I had this pick, to be honest with you. Yeah, now is probably the time to go ahead and grab a linebacker, like to just add to the rotation at least. If you want some pass coverage skills and versatility, Kyle Lewis is your guy. I don't really feel like that's how the Bengals typically draft. Like I think they'd rather take the shot on Anthony Hill or Josiah Trotter, in my opinion. The tackle, like the big citrus, could be fun to add to the middle of the defensive line. Hell, I mean, like, yeah, you pay Boye Mafe 20 mil. You spend a first rounder on Shamar Stewart, which Shamar can play inside too. And Miles Murphy's on the final year of his contract. So it's like, is it bad? I'm damn near considering like Max Clare to upgrade Gasicki. Not taking a third receiver. Offensive line, you could use like a backup guard, but you simply aren't taking someone right now to be a backup. I think Demetrius Knight and Barrett Carter, where they lack most, is the pass coverage game. So it's like to get a player like Kyle Lewis for your defense that can do a little bit of everything for Al Golden would be pretty fun. I think we're just going to grab Malachi Lawrence here, though. It's kind of the Bengals pick, honestly. Like Malachi Lawrence, just a freak athlete, lengthy, has shown upside as a pass rusher, has shown upside as a run defender. And like I said, Shamar Stewart can play inside. And who's to say Shamar Stewart's even ready to make an impact yet? Andy struggled to stay healthy. I don't think grabbing a fourth guy in the edge room, considering one is very flexible and playing inside, and another one is on the last year of his deal, is all that bad of an idea for Cincinnati. 51 for the Panthers, traded up for Kenyon Sadiq. I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm going to go with Kyle Lewis out of Pittsburgh. Like a guy that can help you in pass coverage game as an off the ball linebacker, a guy that can play nickel corner for you, a guy that can rotate back to safety. All three, which are big needs for the Panthers. So a guy that can do a little bit of everything for your defense, I think would be a great get for the Panthers. 52, I'm going to sprint the card in on Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson's my number 22 player in the entire class. So if he got here at 52, It'd probably be the best grade I give out as a draft pick, just to be honest. Packers need boundary starting corners. Look no farther than Chris Johnson. 53 for the Steelers. Like Chase Basantis could be a starting left guard option here to replace Suamalo. Brandon Eccles, I'm not big on in the nickel. And I think we're going to do something really funny here and take D'Angelo Ponds and grab two Indiana Hoosiers off the national champions team and just get two playmakers, two guys that are dogs, regardless of their size, especially Ponds being like 5'8". But yeah, I mean, I think you could use upgrade in the nickel. Asante Samuel, Jamel Dean, Joey Porter is obviously amazing. All those guys, I think, excel as boundary corners. So to get a dominant nickel corner and then just have Asante rotating around the field, I think that's fine. 54 for the Eagles. You got Blake Miller. Safety did not fall well. I think we're just going to go ahead and grab the heir apparent at tight end with Max Clare. Like you saw them do this with Goddard and Zach Ertz a year or two early before Ertz officially left and Goddard took over. Dallas Goddard's on like a 1 year, $7 million deal. Like there clearly is no long term plan with Philly and Goddard to stay together. Goddard's also like 31, 32, could be retiring soon. So let's go ahead and get our tight end of the future a year early with Max Clare. 55 for the Chargers, got TJ Parker. We're going to sprint the card in on Chase Pasantis to be the new starting left guard to pair with Cole Strange and Tyler Biadasz on the interior. 56, the Jaguars really need a Devin Lloyd replacement. So I think someone that can probably play that role pretty well would be Anthony Hill Jr. out of Texas. So we'll go ahead and grab him at 56. 57 for the Bears, got our nose tackle with Caden McDonald. Like Derek Moore's got that dog in him. Denied Dennis Sutton as well. Like both of them are great fits for Dennis Allen's defense, especially denied Dennis Sutton. And Deo should probably get moved here sooner rather than later. You could use another safety, like Traden Stukes and Kobe Bryant, I think are eerily similar. And clearly you have a value for having Kobe Bryant on your defense, but do you want two safeties doing similar stuff? Probably not. Yeah, I think I'm just going to add Derek Moore to the pass rush group. Like, I have a top 40 grade on Derek Moore. I love the dude to death. Great run defender, dog mentality, great pass rusher, like 12 sacks this past year. So, yeah, to add him with Austin Booker, Montez Sweat, and Deo, good pickup in my opinion. 58 for the 49ers, got Caleb Lomu. I think I'm just going to go get a big, fast vertical weapon for the offense in Chris Brazzell to put on the other side of Mike Evans. Like that feels like a really fun fit for Brock Purdy. You can get a DPR in the third round or fourth round. Yeah, fourth since you lost your third round pick for Osa Odigizua. Great pickup in my opinion. Like, yeah, just go get a vertical threat for Brock. 59 for the Texans. Got Caleb Banks, got Emmanuel Pregnon. I think I'm pretty cool with grabbing Josiah Trotter and just saying, hey, D'Amico Ryans, work your linebacker magic and develop this guy however you want him. He's already very instinctive. He's a great run defender. So definitely a role in Houston's defense as of already. And he's also super young. So maybe 2 years down the line, if it's time to move on from Alshire because the books are getting expensive, Josiah Trotter will be in your pocket waiting. All right, 60 for the Bears. Got McDonald, got Derek Moore. I wouldn't mind adding a third receiver. Like, I love the idea of Malachi Fields to add some size opposite of Rome and let Luther play in the slot. He can block his ass off and just be a good fourth or fifth weapon on the offense. Um, but like safety, you need a starter at safety. I think I'm just going to grab Traden Stukes. Like I said, he's such a good player. Typically has played nickel in his career, but I think he's one of those guys that just projects better as a safety, like Kobe Bryant when he came out. And yeah, we're just going to go ahead and grab him and have Kobe Bryant and Traden Stukes as your starting safeties. 61 for the Rams, got Jordan Tyson. I would love a linebacker. Kyle Lewis is the dream, but Kyle Lewis ain't here. So we're going to have to pivot somewhere else. And I think the way I pivot is to get a Puna Ford long-term replacement, and we go with the big citrus Dominique Orange out of Iowa State here. 62 for the Broncos, traded up for Keldrick Falk. Man, Keith Abney falling hurts my soul, but it's like he might just be a nickel corner, and Denver obviously can't use him. Seattle probably can't either, so he probably will fall out of the second round, unfortunately. Tight end flew off the board, so you're probably not taking any of these guys. You wait till the third round, which is fine in this year's class. Portland Sutton's starting to get old and regress a little bit. Pat Bryant, I don't know if he's anything for the future. Troy Franklin and Marvin Mims are just speed. Like Malachi Fields could add more physicality on the boundary. Very good run blocker as well. Um, yeah, this is a tough pick for Denver. You could also, like I said, though, there's no linebacker worth taking. So yeah, I think we're going to go Malachi Fields out of Notre Dame and get Bo Nix another big weapon to work with. 63 for the Patriots went Eli Stowers. I think now I go Caleb Tiernan and just move him over to right tackle and let him sit for a year to develop behind Morgan Moses. 64 to end off this 2-round mock with trades and a player trade, which I was not planning on doing, but hey, it worked out well. You got Brandon Cisse to be your Tariq Woolen replacement. Traden Stukes would have been a good Kobe Bryant replacement. He ain't here. There definitely are Boye Mafe replacements. Like, not really a shoe in one, but like there's three good DPRs and a good edge with some size. But I think we're going to go Jadarian Price to pair with Zach Charbonnet to replace Kenneth Walker. Or are we? Like, I like Emmanuel Wilson. I don't think he's that bad. I think there's bigger needs. And like I said, I find more value in just getting a DPR that can get after it. Joshua Josephs, you can afford to give him the time to develop. So we're going to go with Joshua Joseph. So a ton of talent falls in the third round. Cassius Howe, R. Mason Thomas, Keith Abney, all the running backs, Keontae Scott, Jeremy Bernard, Elijah Surratt, a ton of talent. So maybe next time we will do a 3-round mock, potentially with or without trades. But yeah, man, I hope y'all enjoyed this. And like I said, I'm trying to get some collab mocks for y'all. So stay tuned for that. But until next time, my friends, peace out.